the idea is just to roll, but
go for it.
We'll go for it. Big mountain riding is definitely a fringe component of the sport, and you've dedicated your career and life to it, and you know, it may look to a lot of people like it's pretty simple, and you've been able to make a living doing it, but I'm sure that hasn't always been the case. I mean, you want to talk to just some of those, you know, your dedication to that side of the sport and some of those hurdles you've had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, early on it was I knew pretty early that, like, I love riding and I love POW and I love finding sick terrain, and I've really kind of set up my life around being able to be in the sick spots when they're good and ride the sick terrain.
Another question: who were some of your early and kind of current influences in snowboarding?
God, there's been so many influences through all these different phases of snowboarding. I mean, for sure, back in the day, since we're talking about that, it was really cool where we'd be all at these little East Coast. They're actually big, you know, tons of people at these East Coast contests. But the top guys, basically, if they won the New England Cup, that next year they were getting picked up by Sims or Burton or Barfoot, and they were going on the tour, and they'd go on the tour and they'd continue their success right onto the Pro Tour. Guys like Todd Richards, Jason Ford, Jeff Brushy, and then, you know, I guess with free riding, it's, you know, real quickly, you know, Tom Burt was an early inspiration, and the cool thing, he lives down the road from me now and continues to be an inspiration. Craig Kelly, getting to ride with Craig, and just seeing his whole program, it really is something that I still draw on today. And then there's, you know, a lot of Johan, Jonovan, Jonas Emery. I guess,
You know, Craig started to choose a path away from the spotlight and really look to discover the mountains and the backcountry. It seems like you're definitely moving not away from the spotlight, but into the mountains a little deeper and further. And you want to just kind of explain that. What's motivating you to undertake that mission?
Well, I mean, it's funny because I actually just watched the Craig Kelly Let It to Ride movie, and I'm like, in the time I'm planning my winter, and I am adjusting. You know, my goals in snowboarding are changing toward really just going where I want to go, with who I want to go, and how I want to go, and those spots are these hard to reach zones. The older I get and the more I look back at Craig's kind of career through snowboarding, the more I realize how powerful and inspirational and that you know, the path that he led, and how similar of a path that, you know, I'm on. The thing is, since Craig's died, I do really feel like the sport is lost direction. Like, Craig, even though, like, everyone knew Craig was off in the woods doing his thing, but it was really healthy for the sport to have our, you know, top pro going, you know what, I'm going split boarding, and I'm going to take people into the mountains, I'm going to learn about the mountains. All these things happened, and I think that there's been a huge void since Craig's died, and I think there's especially been this backcountry void.
So I guess lastly, what would you say your greatest achievement in snowboarding has been to date?
My greatest achievement in snowboarding to date? I don't know, but I would say when one thing that probably touches me the most in snowboarding is when I have, I'll be ripping around the mountains with some core local guy who's sacrificed a lot to be there and is washing dishes at night, and he's a sick rider, and, you know, for that guy at the end of the day to come up and be like, you know, man, you've been a huge inspiration on my life, and just thank you so much for what you've done to the sport, and keep doing it, and I owe a lot to you. That's the stuff that stokes me out more than a page in a mag or anything like that.
Cool. All right, Jeremy Jones from Jackson Hole, signing out.